Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I am your host Sri Iyer, and today we have a very special visitor, Nandini Ramani. Nandini is a vice president at Twitter. So a shout out to all those fans who use Twitter for their social media. Yes. Nandini, welcome to PGurus channel.
Thank you.
So I had the good fortune of meeting Nandini today here at ATEA, and one thing that struck me, Nandini, is that you have, I would say, come very far in terms of like being able to be a vice president at one of the fastest growing social media companies. And perhaps you can share with our viewers what your journey has been, where you were born, how did you come up, where did you go through your education, the different places that you worked at before you came to Twitter.
So I was born and raised in Bangalore. Actually born in Manipal, for those who care.
Bangalore.
Bangalore, yes. And then did my schooling in Bangalore, then went to Indian Institute of Science to do my master's. I was working on a master's thesis, and then I came here. I was a visiting scholar at Stanford, but went back and submitted my thesis work and then graduated from India. And then I worked at a small startup initially, then went to Sun Microsystems. Worked in the hardware group first.
I see.
Then switched to software and then predominantly Java. Then Sun got acquired by Oracle. I was part of Oracle, the acquisition. And I actually worked at Oracle for like 4.5 years and really enjoyed that as well.
I see.
So I was heavily on the enterprise side before I came to Twitter.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So what do you do at Twitter now?
So I run like the tooling. It's called Twitter Effectiveness. Basically keep the not just engineering folks, but across the board Twitter running. And
not that we're going to Twitter bomb you. Your Twitter handle is @Nandini, or is it?
No, it's it's @IC_Waters, EYESEE and Waters.
I see.
It's an interesting story, but so I didn't have my. Interestingly, even though I joined really early, I was on Twitter since 2007. My name was, of course, taken.
Oh,
just the first name, so I had to come up with something creative.
That's wonderful. So, if you look at India's, history, the woman has been always held in a very high esteem. For instance, Shakti is what this entire universe is believed to flow from. Shakti forms the foundation. In fact, you have been in Manipal. There is Mogambikai, which is a very famous temple of Shakti. And your experience as a woman to be able to rise to, I would say probably, I'm sure you have a long way to go in terms of going further. The woman professional who has become a C-suite executive, you don't see a lot of those things. Now, how has that journey been? How many times did you feel like, I'm not saying you did, but I'm just asking you this question as a starter for conversation. How many times did you have to jump twice as high to get half the recognition?
I will say it is challenging, I think, for women in general, and also for me, it's not any different. There's just fewer of us. So it manifests itself in very simple, subtle ways, because if there's a room full of men, you have many peers, you can brainstorm, you can do a lot of things that women cannot or do not have access to. There's fewer mentors, there's fewer people, role models, and so on and so forth. So I think you're handicapped to start with, and so you do have to try harder. You do have to jump twice as high in order to accomplish the same thing. And then I don't want to go into all the stats of people talking over you and all of this other stuff. Having said all that, however, I will say I think my own journey, I have had a lot of support from a lot of people. I have never actually felt discriminated against. And I'm not saying it doesn't exist. Of course it does. And is it rough for me sometimes compared to other men? Absolutely. But overall, I think there are a lot of advocates, a lot of people who do want to help and empower, and I think part of it is on us to remind both men and women that hey, because nobody's, at least not most people, don't do it intentionally.
Right.
It's just not top of mind for them. So they don't think about it. They're just on doing their thing, and they don't see why they need to stop for anyone.
Right.
And I think just reminding them that, hey, you know, there's talent everywhere, and the fact that I'm a woman should not be a
right held against you. Yes.
So I think that's what I would say. And having said that, I think, you know, I've been relatively fortunate.
Wonderful.
I wish there were more women in core engineering.
I'm sure that day is not far away, because if you look at the number of STEM students that are coming through the pipeline, especially in India, you know, there's an impressive number of girls who are taking up these professions, and I'm hoping that this conversation of ours is going to motivate many of those students who want to become engineers. Hey, there's a whole wide world out there, and if Nandini can make it, so can you. So thank you so much, Nandini.
Of course, one thing I do want to say, it's not even so much that they all have to become engineers.
Right.
I think it's very important for them to learn tech. Whatever else they decide to do. I have a friend who does genome work in, you know,
genome sequencing.
Yeah, and he uses a lot of software
Absolutely.
to do it.
You can't go away from it. You need this.
You need it no matter what field you're in. So that, I think, is what I would say to all the girls and women. Even.
Get comfortable with using computers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Nandini.
Thank
you so much for taking the time out to